Welcome everybody to today's episode from Forever Bedrock. Today is all about Minecraft Bedrock base planning. Everything you need to know to get yourself off and running to a good start in a Minecraft survival world. The number one tip, location, just in real life with a business for planning your base out, is super important. We wanted an area that was very specific and looked through several areas. I think we looked at 60 different areas to come across what we were looking for. Specifically was 2 mountains with a valley. You want to make sure and choose a location that has multiple types of wood nearby. This, for instance, this area, you can see there's birch over there, there's oak, and then a little bit off in the distance there you can see spruce. So we've got 3 wood types that are right in our wheelhouse, right where we're going to be working all the time. What that allows us to do is go ahead and set up a tree farm with all the types of wood, and basically all we had to do was go out and find dark oak somewhere so that every type of wood that we knew we would be using was going to be easily available to us. Another thing that you want to pay attention to is water. Now, there's no river or ocean near here, but in the caves there are definitely water sources that we could access. At some point you are going to want water for builds, so finding a cave with an aquifer or caves that have water sources in them, if there's no river or ocean nearby, is super important. So location. Once you have the location done, our number 2 tip is to find a good starter area. In our case, what we did was, this was all mountain when we first came in here, before we put in the castle gatehouse and some of the castle walling. This was actually the bottom of the cave, or the bottom of the mountain. We dug straight into the mountain and we set ourselves up a starter area. This is tip number 2, is to have yourself a starter area as quickly as possible. Starter area, you need a bed, you need some basic storage. Try to label that up and keep it as organized as possible, because as you go on in the game further and further, you're going to get more stuff. It's going to get more cluttered. So if you're able to sort of stay somewhat organized right off from the beginning, it'll make it easier when you advance to a bigger storage area, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. You want to definitely have some sort of a basic starter smelting setup. You want to set up at least a basic composting setup. Bone meal is going to be something that you're constantly using that you don't really ever think of off the bat sometimes. Make sure to put that in there. So smelting setup, composter setup, basic storage, a bed, because the last thing you want to do is end up dying in a brand new world and not be able to respawn at your base. Put a grandfather clock and a couch, that's cool too. Definitely doggos. You got to have some friends in your new world, so not crucial to your success in the game, but they're good friends and companions to have, and they do help with skeletons and other things early on too, so get yourself some doggos. Number 3 for base planning. What you want to do when you're first starting out is you want to make sure you have a couple of renewable food sources that are easy to manage or handle. For Kay and I, early game food of choice is steak. So we generally go ahead and set up an animal pen. We don't mind breeding and killing the cows ourselves. It doesn't really take too much time. So we usually go with this, and then we also have a couple of farms that we always put in place. Always start the world out with a wheat farm. This is a little 9x9 design. You put your water in the center, you go 4 blocks out each way, till that land around it, and get yourself some wheat going. That obviously plays into breeding up your cows. You can use it for bread, for a food source if you like. Good to have a wheat farm, always. And then we generally do potatoes, as baked potatoes are a fairly decent food source early game. So we try to get that going. Another thing that we always do, and it's not a food source, I know that, but we always set up at least one manual day one sugarcane farm, because you are going to need the paper. You're going to want paper. You might as well, right off the hop, set yourself up a little pond or a little farm, and get the sugarcane going. Those couple of tips cover basically the things that you want to do at the very start. First day, 2 days, 3 days into your world. Now let's move on to some more serious later game kind of tips for making sure that your base works for you and sets you up to advance quickly through the world. Let's talk about an actual storage system. So right now I'm in the middle, actually, of putting this all together. When we got further into the game, a couple weeks into the game, I made this storage setup. This was solely designed to handle things like books, paper, rockets, copper, gold, all of our ores, and a lot of our building supplies like glass, concrete, things like that. All your basic stuff. And we added in a few chests here for all of our wood types. This was for our beginning. Over here, we added a sole room, which we're putting a second one in here. This is all bulk storage. This is all silos. You want to make some silo storage in your base. Now, silos, you'll notice here there's no lights. You don't necessarily need a light to tell you which chests are full. You can just open them. But all you need for a silo is a chest that is your input. Your hopper is going into the however many chests high you want to make the storage. That is a perfectly simple, easy silo setup. And that's got everything that we're going to get in bulk, which always happens. Is going to be gravel, sand, stone brick, stone, deep slate, cobblestone. You see we've got double of those. And to be honest with you, let's see, we got granite, diorite, andesite, oak wood. We're going to always use a ton of oak. We're always going to use a ton of spruce, so you might as well silo that. But as you see here, ever since 1.18 dropped, we've even overflowed all of this with what we set up. Make it big. You will always outgrow your storage if you're playing in a world for any length of time. If you guys are enjoying the video and any of these tips are helpful, you guys will hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Kay and I would really appreciate that. That helps the channel out if you leave the like and subscribe. Comments are always awesome too. We love to hear from you guys, but that's another thing that helps the video out. So if you guys would take a moment to do that, we would totally appreciate it. And let's move on to number 5, nether access. Now, when you start off in a world, you want to definitely make sure you've got nether access so that you can tunnel out to the different biomes that you are going to need to gather resources from, whether that's deserts or mesas, dark oak forests, etc. Originally, our nether portal was down there on the ground. But since our main floors of our castle complexes are both going to be just about this height, we went ahead and we moved our portal all the way up top here so that the access to the portal and to the bases was going to be easier and faster. And the other main thing that you want to do with nether access is make sure that you get yourself some tunnels set up to those biomes that I was mentioning. If you happen to play on a realm or multiplayer, you know, make some tunnels to different areas. Like this is our shopping district. Through the other side of that tunnel is portals to other members of the realm's bases. There's another guy's portal down there. Another guy's portal here, down this hallway, plus to a desert. Label those access points so that you don't forget where things are. And then you also want to make sure, if you're playing on a world for any length of time, you're probably going to have multiple areas, so you do want to make some sort of another hub that connects those areas together. Now this here is what we call the Forever Bedrock Hyperloop, kind of a little nod to Elon Musk. This takes us all the way back to our 1.17 area that we started in June. June, almost 10 months ago now. So this connects to the actual nether hub that we had in the 1.17 world. And this was our nether hub setup from the previous 1.17 areas that we were all in. This takes us to the main spawn of 1.17. That is Fred's tunnel over there. I am Fluffy's tunnel. Jonathan, K-Dog's tunnel is down there. That one there is a shopping district, trading hall. So it's really important that you've got nether access and a good system. This is another set of tunnels that goes to the new area. This one actually was to our Christmas build off. If you guys didn't catch those episodes, those were kind of cool. You can take a look back and go watch those. The Christmas build off was a lot of fun. This obviously goes to our Guardian farm from the 1.17 area. And this was an iron farm. You are going to definitely want nether access to at least get yourself quartz. And then obviously if you're into building and things like that, you're going to want to have specific tunnels going to warped areas, crimson areas, and obviously soul sand valleys if you do a lot with bubble elevators and things. So your nether access is really important. Make sure you get that set up as quick as you can. Very helpful early game. Alright, so now tip number 6. Smelting setup. A real one. You obviously want a starter one that we had below. This one here is 24 furnaces. And it is bamboo powered. So I like to design these a little bit different than most. Most people, you know, you have your items up on top that go in. And your fuel source is in this row of hoppers behind. But since we're fueling it with bamboo and it goes so fast, I always add in a second row of hoppers for the fuel, which is this row here. Which leads us to our next thing, is farms. When you're setting up a base, now granted our base is pretty spread out and mega, I guess is one way you could put it. You want to make sure that you're setting up farms, like in this instance, we're feeding, like I said, with bamboo. So you want to be able to feed that automatically with your farm. So when you're laying out farms, you want to make sure that you've got a way to get the items either up to your storage room or into your furnace, whichever it is, whichever you need. So making sure that you place your farms in areas where you can get the items or transport the items to where you need them most is something that's super critical to think about before you start building your farms. We were able to go ahead and take this bamboo farm all the way down here, and all of the bamboo comes down the backside, runs down into this dispenser, goes right up to our furnace. The other cool thing about this is that this is all based on the sim distance of a realm. If I'm in the base, this is working, and the distance is covered here, it's still all loaded. So the fuel is actually able to even still get up there. It's a little bit big of an area, but when you've got a 4-chunk sim distance, this works out perfectly. This, like I said, it stays loaded all the time, it stays running all the time, and the bamboo can still climb through the way that we've got it lined up. So as you see down here in the floor, we intend totally on running everything up to those storage areas. And we chunk aligned everything down here for the farms, and then that way we have no issues with redstone, and then we can run all of our lines up, whether it's whether we use water elevators or if we just use other item transport elevators. Either way, all of it is basically just below the storage area, right in line with where we need the stuff to go once it's actually being made. And then on to some other farms that we actually did a little bit earlier on. These were some of our starter farms. We obviously covered the little crop farms out front. Those were our couple day 1, 2, 3 farms, but as we got going a little bit further, we put in another sugarcane farm in here that's automatic. That one also just empties out here. We haven't set that up yet, but that is going to be going up shortly to the storage area. We have a carrot farm here for villager trading, all planned out to be right by the storage room for easy access for everything. Tip number 8 for your base is to have some form of villager trading going on. This happens to be a 99 villager trading hall. You don't have to obviously go this crazy. You could have something as simple as a couple villagers stuck in a village that you rolled trades with and traded with. You could have something a much smaller scale than this one, but it's super important. It's super easy to get villagers set up with trades nowadays. It's a no-brainer. Set up villager trading as soon as you can. A lot of people, just another tip, a lot of people go for mending number 1. I would suggest you guys go for Fortune 3 number 1. For your first guy, librarian, go for Fortune 3, because when you're mining early on, if you've got Fortune 3, it's almost as important, if not more important, than having mending. Always best to go ahead and have yourself a Bruno like we do, to go ahead and convert all your guys down to getting the best trades. Once you do that, you get your guys mending books for 1, everything. All these guys, all their books are 1. Trading hall is super important, to the point that it's so easy to get villager trading going early game, especially if you are by a village. It's so easy to do that we even bypass, we don't even set up an enchanting table that much anymore. We did all of our enchanting with our villagers. On to tip number 9. Now again, some of these aren't exactly like day 1, day 2 type tips, right? These are tips for planning out a fairly good base, fairly large base, one that you're planning on playing in the world for quite a while. That's what this is geared at. So tip number 9 is an iron farm. You want to have an iron farm up and going as soon as you can. So as long as you're putting together a villager trading center, have yourself a breeder, which actually ours is that house over there. We have our breeder, our iron farm, and our trading hall, and all this is going to be tied into the base, so that it's one mega kind of structure that's all intertwined together. Iron farm, totally critical. Gotta have it. Gotta have for hoppers, pistons, and all sorts of stuff. So you might as well get that thing up and going as quick as you can. Alright, and before we get into tip number 10, if you guys are or know any other Bedrock content creators, Forever Bedrock is seeking about 2 to 3 more content creators. We're looking for guys or girls who either create YouTube content, Minecraft Bedrock, or stream on Twitch, to join up. If you're interested, or you know someone that might be interested, share the video with them. If you're interested, there's a Discord link below. Make sure and join the Discord. You could shoot me a message on Discord, same as my gamer tag, dski1666. The goal is to probably, like I said, add about 2 to 3 more creators to join in with us. If you fit that bill, hop on the Discord, say hello, and we'll talk to you there. So tip number 10, potion brewing. You want to have a potion brewing set up as you're getting towards the end game. Things like killing the wither, fighting the dragon. Potions are super helpful. You want to go ahead and have a good potion brewing room set up going. We've got spare water bottles here. We've got all the supplies that we need in the barrels here for making all the various potions. Got multiple brewing stands set up. Potions are awesome. They're very, very helpful end game. Definitely need to have a potion set up. That is tip number 10. Leave us a comment below what some of your tips are for getting started on your base, or must-haves in the bases that you have in survival worlds. Take it easy, everyone.